성공의 최고점에서 모든 걸 가질 수 있는 상태가 어떤 건지 이분의 일기 좀 들어보세요. 한국인에게는 지금의 BTS 정도였다고 하면 좀 감이 잡히실까요?
Remember making it to #1 in the country, #1 on MTV, #1 everywhere.
How'd that feel?
There's nowhere else to climb. It felt empty. Drugs went just worse and worse every year. It was just really emotional band. Our singer started singing about getting bullied, sexual abuse, relationships breaking, heartache. He opened his soul and just let everybody see who he was. And so it was different for music to be that open and it helped a lot of people. I know it helped a lot of people because throughout the years of just people, I thought we were all cool. The girls would cry and stuff, and then when you get to talk to them, they're like, I wanted to kill myself. You guys helped me through it, and I'm just like, oh, KoRn is more than music.
Just going to say, let's talk about girls and drugs and the whole rock and roll thing, because if you're not right with God and you're not healthy as a person and you get into that atmosphere, can't help.
Yeah. Anything and everything that you want is given to you. When you get that big, it's like no one will tell you no. I mean, we had friends that were police officers and we would just be like, we're going in the limo, we'll be back. They knew we were doing coke. We did stuff in front of them. We had some nitrous tanks and we just sucked the whole tank all night long till like 4 a.m. and just feel brain cells like pouring out of my ears as I do it. And
자기가 좋아하는 일인데다 또 잘하겠게까지 해서 최고의 결과를 획득한다는 것. 인생에서 바라는 참 이상적인 일이 아닐 수 없죠. 그런데 과연 그런 인생의 최상의 일이 벌어졌다 한들 그게 내 자신에게 최선이 될까요?
The excitement of growing to the top level kind of was getting clouded out by the party. And so, okay, we've been hitting it pretty heavy. We need to, maybe not together, but different people at different spots. But I remember even when we got to the top and things weren't so bad, I just remember making it to #1 in the country, #1 on MTV, #1 everywhere. And we were just like, wow, we're here. We made it. We've arrived.
Right.
This is it.
How'd that feel?
There's nowhere else to climb. It felt empty because I still felt like Brian Welch, the son of Phil and Marilyn Welch. I grew up
브라이언은 커리어의 최고의 정점에서 인생의 최저점에 나락에 치닫게 됩니다. 마약과 파티, 문란한 생활, 한없는 공허와 혼란 속에서 무너져 갑니다. 엄청난 돈과 유명세가 줄 수 있는 필연적 치명타인 거겠죠.
I kind of was battling just emptiness and depression, and then the drugs just worse and worse every year. So it just started, we got there, got over the top of the mountain, and then we started going down. Well, just, drugs and drugs and drugs, and it got worse and worse, and then me and my wife would mess around with meth once in a while. It was an off and on type of thing. And so when she left me, she got really hooked on meth. I was on tour, and she had a new boyfriend, and my wife had a new boyfriend, and he moved into my house with his friends, and they were having like parties at my house. So my daughter was there, and there was a babysitter, and she'd take the baby into the other room while everyone's like going for it, and so I heard that there was one story where this guy jumped in my pool and he left all his speed in his pocket, and it went floating up, and I'm like, my daughter goes in the pool, So I sent my friend over there. I was so mad, I wanted to kill. But I wanted those people out of my house, and he went over there and he brought a gun with him, and not thinking of the consequences. It was just my rage, This guy stole my wife, and so he went there. Luckily, there was nobody there. My baby was there, and I went and I grabbed her, and I took her out on the road with me. And then we went to court, and I got full custody of my daughter. That's how bad my wife was.
아빠로서 딸을 위해서 바르게 살아보고자 하지만 그게 사람 마음대로 되지 않죠. 특히나 음란과 마약에 심하게 중독이 되어 살아왔다면 그건 사람의 힘으로 끊는 것이 불가능하다고 봐야 합니다.
And it lasted 4 months. I couldn't stay sober. I didn't like to look in the mirror. I didn't like the person staring back at me, and that self-hatred root grew in me when I was in junior high, and it never left. No matter if I made millions of dollars or bought my BMW or my house or anything, and nothing could fulfill that. So, you know, I started partying after 9/11.
브라이언은 그렇게 딸을 혼자 기르면서도 예전보다 더욱 심한 마약에 중독이 되어 살아갑니다. 마약 중독 치료도 실패하게 되고 더 바닥을 치지 않으려 부동산 일을 하는데 거기서 크리스찬 동업자를 만나 처음 교회에 간 날 목사님의 간증을 듣게 됩니다.
The pastor was there and he spoke to everybody about how he used to be alcoholic, and he threw his wife against the wall one day, and her back was like, they thought she was going to be permanently damaged. And he said, if you fix my wife and send her back to me and restore our marriage, I'll give you my life, Jesus. Because he was a backsliding Christian. Yeah. And he was just like, the Lord will fix you. You don't got to come to him fixed. You come to him all broken. And I was like, I got to try this. I got to try this, man. If it doesn't work, I'll try something else, but I have to try this. And so that day I received Christ into my heart, but I went home and I poured my heart out because the pastor said, pour your heart out to God. Be real with him. Yep. And I went to the right church, man. And so I went home and I just closed my eyes and I poured my heart. I said, Lord, I need you. I need you to show me if you're real. How do I know if you're real? Come into my life and take these drugs from me. Give my daughter a new father, you know? And so, you know, long story short, a couple weeks later I was off and on the drugs, but I had an encounter where God just came, and it felt like Christ came in to the room and wrapped his arms around me and just was like, I don't want you to hate yourself anymore. I love you. I forgive you. I knew right then, it was like, my life's never going to be the same ever after this experience.
주님만 의지하며 믿음으로 산다는 것이 뭔지 알게 해달라는 기도는 하나님께서 아주 기뻐하시는 기도이기에 즉시 응답하십니다.
Well, actually, I started to learn that there's a supernatural work that God does, and He does it. He's actually forming Christ in us by His Spirit, and we become more like Him because He forms Him in us, and He forms Him in us by blessings and like good times, but also through trials and hardships and difficulties. And so I remember my number one prayer was, at the beginning was, God, I want to know you. I want to really know you, the hidden person of your heart, like reveal yourself to me. And that was always good, and He does. But then I would pray things like, I want so much faith. Show me how to walk by faith. You know, those are dangerous prayers because my money grew wings and went. All my money like disappeared. Within 3 years, I lost my BMW, I lost my house, I lost 2 vans, and you know.
세상에서 얻은 것, 하나님 외에 의지하던 모든 것을 아낌없이 브라이언에게서 떨궈버리십니다. 친구들은 부동산으로 돈을 벌지만 비슷한 조건의 자신에게는 그런 기회가 오지 않습니다. 주님만 의지하며 살고 싶다고 할 만큼 자신은 신실한 성도라 하나님께서 성사시켜 주실 거라 기대했는데 오히려 돈 한 푼도 남지 않게 해버리십니다. 단연 브라이언은 혼란스럽고 하나님께 화가 나게 됩니다. 믿음으로 살게 해주시는 하나님의 인도를 아직 이해하지 못하는 시기였으니까요.
There was a scripture that I remember I was just like, I had nothing. All my money was gone.
딸아이의 점심을 사주기 위해 소파 책장을 뒤지며 동전을 찾을 만큼 궁핍할 때 하나님께서 반드시 필요를 공급하실 거라는 약속의 말씀을 기대하며 브라이언은 또다시 성경 말씀을 펴니다.
And I wanted her to see God's hand provide because I knew He would, but I was still scared. And I'd look through the Bible and say, God, like, this is really tough season, you know. I know you provide, but it's like you're holding out right now. And I would look at a scripture and it says, if you have food and clothing, be content with that. And I'm like, dang it! Come on, give me some money. And sure enough, within like a couple of weeks, you know, when I was just with nothing, I had a manager at the time, and he said, "Hey, we've been looking through your."
회심 후에 예수님과 거리가 먼 것 같은 락밴드의 리드 기타리스트로서 왕성한 활동을 하고 있는 브라이언은 다시 과거의 그 길로 돌아가게 된 걸까요? 다음 영상을 기대해 주세요. 구독과 알람 설정, 좋아요 눌러주시고 이 좋은 이야기를 주변 분들과 많이 공유해 주세요.